let's look at motivation. Motivation is that spark that precedes action. The stuff that makes you do stuff. We're going to take a look at the problem. Where do we find it? The mechanism. Where does it come from? And boom, you. How do you make it work for you? How do you control it? How do you become its master? Everything you do in your whole life that you don't get paid for suffers from a lack of motivation. So the problem is, when we have these non-habitual but beneficial tasks, do taxes, or write those thank you cards, or do your workout, we don't feel like it. How many times have you been there? Or you might find yourself on the opposite side of the spectrum where everything's an emergency, everything is urgent. Then anything less motivating than that is definitely not getting done. And some of this stuff really improves our lives. These are things that will impact your health, your wealth, your quality of living. These are genuinely important things to do. But the problem is, we don't have the sauce to do them. We don't muster the energy and the effort to make them happen. We don't have the systems in place to make them happen right now. What is the future but a series of right nows? So now let's look at the process of it, see how it works, and start reaping those benefits of doing things that you know you want to do. So every time you're about to make a decision, your brain has to weigh all of the risk and the reward. It has to weigh the danger and the pleasure. Ultimately, your brain has to come up with a yes or a no. If you have a bucket full of yes, get that thing done. You figure out whatever obstacles on your way because your motivation, you did not perceive that there was enough risk. On the flip side, they have so many no's that it will counteract any yeses you may have had. There are so many things that you have anxiety about that will ultimately prevent you from taking the action. Now, the brain is wildly complex. It does hundreds, if not thousands, don't quote me on that, I didn't look it up, of these computations every second. Generally speaking, your brain wants to chill and wants to be safe. It wants to conserve energy, and it wants to survive. Unless you are acutely hungry or acutely in danger, then it's going to be, yes, this is valuable, I need this, because your environment demands it. Unless you have a habit that makes you find value in something, your body is generally going to always take the safer side. So on the whole, the more yeses you have and the fewer no's you have, the more likely you are to commit to an action. The more likely that your motivation, whatever reason you had for doing something, sees through to action. You will feel like. So your motivation, whether you do it or don't do it, is really like a consensus of all of the beliefs going on in your mind. Which ones believe that it's going to be a good decision? Which ones believe that it's going to be a bad decision? The more likely it is that your action will manifest. It is you're going to sit down and do the thing that you needed to do. So now it comes to you. How do you manage and control these processes to your benefit? The main things that determine what's a yes and what's a no are your mood, your environment, and your beliefs. The more control you have over these things, the more likely that your ideas will gather momentum and turn into action. So the first thing is mood. Mood is like your hunger, your thirst, the things that affect your physical body that make you feel a certain way. The most control you can have over your mood is in disciplining yourself. If you discipline yourself to be able to know in your mind, though I'm taken care of, I'm fed, I am quenched, I am rested. Those will not be no's when it comes time to do something. The next thing you control is environment. This is like, if you know you shouldn't be eating something, then don't buy it. It's out of your environment, you're less likely to make the choice. The more susceptible you are to chaos and distractions in the space that you have, the less likely it's going to get done. The more justification you have in your mind to not follow through. Beliefs. Beliefs are hard because they are largely given to us in our childhood. So these ones are very difficult to change, but it is possible. If you believe something is possible, you're more likely to commit resources to it. You're more likely to do it. You're more motivated to get it done. The second piece of that is the knowledge barrier. That gets rid of a big no, because if you don't know what you're doing, very likely you won't even try it. The best way to redesign our beliefs is through repetition and practice. The more common something is around you, the more believable it is. And that's how you come to understand anything. If you surround yourself with reinforcing ideas that I can do this, I will do this, then chances are you will and can do this. And I want to leave you with this little tidbit. You have to be willing to do anything to get your task accomplished. The great thing about that is you will certainly not have to do everything, but you have to be willing to do anything in order to know what exactly needs to be done. Because I guarantee you it's going to be something different than what you're doing now. So, my good people, this has been the Board